Hello and welcome back to Hammergate Radio Communications Program. It's such a joy and such a delight to be with you again. We trust that you've been fine. We trust you've been doing well. We trust that you've been achieving and accomplishing amazing results. Thank you for always being there for us, and it's such a joy to have you join us again today. I remain your host, Adepeju Jayoba, and it's such a delight to welcome you to a brand new series, one that we have specially curated and that we know that you're going to gain a lot of insights from that would help your organization. In this quarter, we're going to be looking at something very exciting, something very engaging, and something very instrumental to you, and that is leadership competencies and organizational behavior. Leadership competencies and organizational behavior. Now, you and I would agree that every organism, every living organism has a unique, specific, and dynamic characteristics that is peculiar to their species. A very good example is that the plant species are the only species that are capable of undergoing photosynthesis, and that is because they contain the green chlorophyll. You would not find animals going through photosynthesis. In the same vein, animals have the capacity to move from one place to the other, which we call locomotion. And even though advanced science has shown us that plants undergo some kind of movement, phototropism, geotropism, plants don't physically move from one location to another the way animals do. So it tells us that each organism have a way they respond to their external environment. They have certain behavioral patterns, certain attitudes, certain activities, certain peculiarities that stand them out. And all those to put together stand to influence or stand as the behavior of those species. In the same vein, each and every organization have peculiar behavioral patterns that are specific and unique to that organization. And that is one of the things that stands your organization or differentiates your organization from another organization. So what do I mean by behavior? According to the American Psychological Association, behavior can be defined as an organism's activities in response to external or internal stimuli. If I would define it, I would say behavior can be defined as the range of actions and mannerisms made by individuals, organisms, systems, or artificial entities in relation to some external environment. These systems can include, living organisms or inanimate objects in relation to an inanimate physical environment. Behavior is the computed response of a system or of an organism to various stimuli, like I said, or inputs, whether internal or external, whether conscious or subconscious, whether overt or covert, whether voluntary or involuntary. A very good example is if you're cooking in the kitchen and you mistakenly touch something hot. The natural response to that is to flinch, take your hands off. That is a subconscious response to the external environment of a certain object. That is a behavior. While there are persons who have controlled themselves, and when they touch a hot object, they're careful not to drop the pot or spill the items. They rush to drop it in a hurry, but they're careful not to drop it. That is a more controlled, conscious response. So whether it's a subconscious response or it's a more controlled, deliberate, conscious response to an external environment or to an external or internal stimuli, all that responses is what we know or what we call behavior. So like I said earlier, just like living organisms, every organization and business enterprise have specific mannerisms and systems that stand out as their distinctive characteristics. An organization, in this context, I'm referring to a purposeful system with several subsystems where individuals, referring to your employees, and activities are organized to achieve certain predetermined goals through integrated and coordinated processes and procedures. This tells us that when we're referring to an organization, we're talking about much more than a physical building. And I remember something my colleague Tolu Amadara said when she was talking, or when she ran the series on institution building. And she said institutions are much more than the brick and the mortar of the buildings. You're talking about systems, you're talking about the people, the structures that make up the organization. So talking about an organization, we're referring to a social system whose operations need to be understood, particularly because of the unpredictable nature of the human factor, the individuals or the employees who serve as the bedrock of the activities and the operations that go on in your organization. No matter how competent, no matter how skilled, no matter how visionary a leader or a CEO or business owner is, you need people to co-create, co-implement, and co-execute your vision alongside with you to achieve that which you have in mind regarding your organization. No man is an island of his own, and there's no business owner who can achieve success on its own. Even one man business would still need some form of vendors, would need third party influence. They would still probably go to the market, relate with other business owners, relate with sellers, relate with buyers. There's an interaction going on, and all that interaction, all that response will determine the behavior of the organization. And that is why in the series we're going to be looking at organizational behavior. What is the behavior of your organization? Of course, we're going to be looking at it holistically and generally, but as we go on in the series, I'm sure you're going to begin to see practicable strategic steps that you can implement in your organization to shape, mold, and build the behavior in your organization to be that which is productive, effective, and leads to success. Now, the field that studies organizational behavior, or studies behavior in an organization, which we call the organizational behavior, or OB as some of us know it as, is the field of study that investigates the impact that individuals, group, and structures have on the behavior within the organization. OB generally is the study of human behavior in organizational settings. It studies the interface between human behavior and the organization, and it studies the application of knowledge about how people act and respond within the workplace, looking at people's response to businesses, looking at people's responses to clients, looking at people's interaction with themselves within the organization, looking at people's interaction with the physical environment or inanimate objects like the technology, the software, the laptop in the office, or the building, the location of the office. All that interaction is what we investigate and study in organizational behavior. And organizational behavior cuts across all sectors. So whether you're in the fashion industry, or you're in the health industry, whether you run a school, or you manage a non-for-profit institution, or you're a government worker or government leader, organizational behavior is important to you. Organizational behavior is important for us to study because it covers core topics of leadership behavior and power dynamics. It covers interpersonal communication and relationship. It covers learning and training, attitude development and perception, change process in the organization. It covers group structures and job design. And this tells us that we are on a very interesting, insightful journey to learning a lot. Now, let me quickly say at this point that there is a difference between organizational behavior and organizational culture. Sometimes last year we ran a program on organizational culture, and I'm sure that you've listened to it. I'm sure you've learned so much about organizational culture, and your question might be, Adepeju, what's the difference between the two? Very simple. Organizational culture refers to the unique properties or qualities of the workplace itself that influences the employees. It talks about the unique characteristics or the identity or the brand of the workplace itself, where, while organizational behavior refers to the resulting behavior of the people within it. Remember when we defined organizational behavior, we said it is people's response to either internal or external stimuli. We're looking at people's response or their interactions with other elements in the organization. So while organizational culture refers to factors such as the company's mission and vision statement, the core values and expectations of the company's employees, while it looks at the corporate identity of the organization, organizational behavior looks at the resulting attitudinal response of people to the culture. So I would put it in this way. Organizational culture is the cause, while organizational behavior is the effect. You put structures in place, you put policies in place, you put values in place, and people respond accordingly based on the structures or the policies or the values you've put in place in your organization. A very good example would be having a culture or such as promoting customer service, being respectful and polite to customers, attending to customers on time. That is a culture. This is what we stand for. That's your identity. While organizational behavior will investigate and study how employees respond to that particular policy or that particular value. So, for example, employees being friendly, being polite, being prompt to attend to clients, that's their response. So that's their behavior. That is what we're studying in organizational behavior. So I would say that organizational culture serves as the foundation for organizational behavior, which is the behavior or the attitudinal pattern the employees exhibit. So if a company wants to create a positive working environment, or a company wants employees that have a positive attitude to work, it is important that that employee establishes a culture that promotes healthy and positive behavior among its employees. Very important. So very quickly, let's look at the benefits of understanding organizational behavior. It's one thing to know that your employees will respond to the culture, to the policies, the standards in your organization. It's another thing to understand it and to know how to effectively maximize the behavior of your employees to achieve corporate goals in your organization. So let's get right into it. The first benefit of understanding or maximizing organizational behavior in your organization is that it increases employee satisfaction. It increases employee satisfaction. When the culture and the work environment in your organization is one that that genders positive, healthy responses from your employee, they will give their best at work. Having a culture that makes your employees happy, that makes them feel supported and valued, it will definitely increase their satisfaction. That will be their response. Remember where we're coming from: organizational culture and organizational behavior. Now we're saying that if you want your employees to be productive, you have to create a culture and a work environment that promotes productivity. So understanding organizational behavior, when you understand it and you implement a culture that empowers your employees, that initiates and promotes innovation, that allows them air their views and their views are put into consideration, that supports their dreams, a system or a culture of continuous learning and development, it will increase employee satisfaction. And the next benefit, if your employees are satisfied, it will increase customer satisfaction. I read Business at the Speed of Business at the Speed of Thought by Bill Gates. And one of the things he said in that book that really stood out for me is that happy employees will make a happy organization. And that is because they will make happy clients. So when employee satisfaction is increased, the next thing you expect is increased customer satisfaction. Another benefit of organizational behavior is increased innovation. Having an environment that understands and puts into consideration organizational behavior, you would increase innovation or innovative platforms for your employees to showcase their skills, abilities, and competencies, and also give them room to grow and become better at what they do in your organization. And that in turn will increase productivity and performance. Any organization that is big on organizational behavior, particularly wanting to see a positive, healthy, motivated behavior from its employees, will increase their productivity and performance. Another benefit of organizational behavior or understanding organizational behavior is increased trust between employees and the company or the management. When your employees know that you're looking out for their well-being, looking out for their response and interaction with your organization or with the workplace, it will increase their trust in you because they know that you have their best interest at heart. Also, another benefit of understanding organizational behavior is it will enhance better communication between management and the employees. That goes without saying. It will enhance better communication within the organization. It will allow employees speak freely, give their feedback freely, and also accept feedback from the management when they know that you have their best interest at heart. Another benefit is that it brings out leadership qualities in your employees. It allows them give their best to the job. It allows them take corrections, and it allows them explore developmental or learning opportunities to become better at their job, and that will bring out the leadership qualities in them. It allows for employee ownership in the organization. When organizational behavior is put into consideration in your organization, employees will have that sense of loyalty and commitment to your organization, and that will improve their responsibility and ownership in the organization. They feel like they have a part in this organization and they want to give their best to ensure the success of the organization. Another benefit we'll be looking at is organizational behavior allows or increases employees, or it allows employees to behave ethically. It allows employees, or it supports employees to behave ethically. When employees know this is what is expected of us, when the culture has been set, the values have been set. Remember, organizational culture will influence organizational behavior. So once the culture has been set, the value has been set, we're going to be polite and respectful. In this organization, we're going to run a culture of mutual respect and dignity that demands the behavior of being respectful and being polite. So, understanding organizational behavior will empower your employees to behave ethically. Another benefit is that it will reduce employee burnout because employees know what to expect and they can tailor their activities to fit into what is being expected of them. And lastly, the last benefit we'll be looking at is that it reduces worker attrition and turnover. Because you and I would want to work in an organization where our well-being, where we're looked out for. We want to work in an organization where we're being supported and encouraged, we're motivated and valued. Everyone wants to belong to that system. And so I would want to work in a place where they're giving me opportunities to grow, opportunities to be better, opportunities to learn, and opportunities to be skilled at my work. I would want to work in such an organization. And I believe if your organization puts this into consideration, you would have lower turnover rates. Very quickly, I want us to look at the key elements of organizational behavior. What are the things to look out for, or the key components in organizational behavior? Now we know that human behavior is complex and multifaceted, and it's constantly evolving. So when individuals, employees come together under a system in an organization to accomplish set objectives, some kind of infrastructure will be required, and while they interact with one another and utilize technology to get work done, certain behavioral responses will begin to ensue. So what are the key elements of organizational behavior? The first is the people. People make up the internal social system of the organization. In fact, there is no organization without people. If you buy a building, you put in the technologies, you put in all the structures, the chairs, the tables, the laptops, and get the best softwares. Without people in the organization, all that is empty. Is an empty showroom of gadgets. So people are the living, thinking, feeling, and responding entities of the organization, and they effectively interact with other elements to achieve strategic goals. Therefore, it can be said that the interaction of your employees with work and with one another is perhaps the most important element in a work environment. And this tells us that everyone, all your employees, will bring their own unique personality, values, and communication style to the workplace environment. And all that interplay of different value system, different perspectives, different experiences, different expectations will form the behavior of your organization. The next component or element of organizational behavior is the structure. This refers to the official relationships and roles of employees to one another and within the company. Different jobs are required to accomplish different things within the organization activities, and all these have to relate and interact with one another in some structural way so that work is effective and productive. So you have different departments in your organization, and these different departments have different things, but they interact with one another. So there must be a structural system where work can be done effectively without creating chaos and disorder in your organization. So examples or concepts of organizational structure refers to hierarchy of authority, who is reporting to who is in charge, who is in control, who is managing who. Hierarchy of authority, we're looking at division of labor, we're splitting the work into teams, into groups, or it's just whoever can do the job. Span of control, we're looking at specialization, standardization, formalization, centralization, and complexity. We will look at all this in depth as we go on in the series. The third component of organizational behavior is the technology. These are the machines, the tools, techniques, and resources provided to employees to perform their job duties, work with customers, and otherwise function within a role and as a part of the organization, transforming inputs to outputs, knowing that there's a limit to what people can do and what people can achieve with their bare hands. It's amazing to have the most skilled person, but even the most skilled, the most competent of your employees, there's a limit to what they can do. Technology comes into play to aid the operational and transformative processes that runs in your organization to ensure that work is seamless. And the last component of organizational behavior is the external environment. All organizations relate with some form of external environment. There is no organization that exists alone. And when we're talking about an external environment, we're talking about physical environments such as lighting, talking about space, the furniture, the technology, like I talked about, or we're talking about broader factors such as the economy, customers, politics. Climate change affects businesses. So every organization interacts with other members or elements of its environment. A very good example is if you're in a country, if your organization is situated in a country where there is an alarm or the hurricane is coming, you have to shut down your business. You have to allow your employees close for the day. That is a factor of the external environment impacting your business. So these interactions with the external environment include things like allowing the organization to acquire raw materials from the market, hire employees, secure capital, obtain knowledge and relevant data, and get properties or facilities and equipment to bring work together in a structured form and to achieve organizational goals. So let me give an example of organizational behavior using these factors. So we have people, like I said, the most important element of the organizational behavior. So you start out as a business owner, you have a vision for your organization. You say, this is what I hope to achieve in my organization. I want us to be the best in producing children wear. For example, you want to employ individuals, you want to employ talents that are competent in certain or different departments. You want to employ people who are competent in sales because you would need the baby wear to be sold to prospective mothers or persons who are mothers already. You want to make sure the word gets out there. There's a new company in town, so you want to employ sales executives. You want to employ people who are competent in finance. You want to employ a HR manager. You want to employ administrators. You want to employ those in operations. You want to employ those in logistics, those who would go to the market to acquire raw materials. You probably want to have people in the production department if you're producing this baby wear or this children wear by yourself. I mean, there's a lot. And so all these persons will come in with their unique perspectives, unique abilities, unique temperaments. They will bring all that to the organization. And you as a business owner want to set the values and the standards that moderate all these elements of the persons coming into your organization, and they would interact with one another. So you find persons who are perfectionists, you find those who they are good at their job, but they are kind of laissez-faire. You find those who are high on respect. You find those who don't care what you call them as long as work is done. You would have all manner of experiences and philosophies play out, and that is the people. Now, when you employ them, you want to create some form of structure. So your culture, your vision and mission statement, your policies, procedures will resume by this time, we close by this time, we have a HR manager, we have operational managers. You want to create structure in your organization that manages and controls the activities of these wonderful people you have brought together. You want to say, this department will be managed by this person, this department will be managed by this person, this department reports to this department. You want to ensure that there's a structure that works. And then when you've put a structure in place, trained your employees the technology. Are you going to be having machines if you're producing the children wear yourself? If you have a production facility or production team, you want to get your equipment, the tools that you need, machines, sewing machines, you want to have design machines, you want to look into all that. For your finance team, are we getting them laptops, latest financial AI tools? For your HR department, we're getting them the latest HRIS, that's the HR information systems. You want to also put that in place, that's the technology. And then the external environment. You want to look at availability of resources. You want to look at the external environment, the clients, the customers. Are we in a place where we have access to a lot of mothers? Are we in a place that is family oriented? Or we are in a strictly student area? How many persons would patronize us? You want to look at the government policies. Are we allowed to do business or this kind of business where we're situated? You want to look at the location of the business. Are we in a place that is visible enough? All that come together to ensure that the goal that you had in your mind when you created this organization is achieved. Wow, that will be all we'll be taking today. I hope you're getting ready for this series. I hope you're excited and looking forward to learning more. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope we're looking forward to you connecting with us. So for your questions, your feedbacks, and your comments, please reach out to us at contact@theamorgate.org. contact@theamorgate.org. You can also connect with us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. We'll love to connect with you. We'll love to walk with you. We will love to walk with you. That is why we are here. Until I come your way, same time next week. Keep being amazing and keep achieving amazing results. Bye for now.